it's weird. Like
Yeah.
when I'm walking to like go check my mail and stuff,
Yeah.
like people just avoid me. They take a wide berth from me. This is how I look when I walk out. It's like,
What do you think it is? Is it the beard or the shades?
it's the appearance. I mean, I guess I look tougher than I actually.
Yeah. If only they knew you were a wuss. Or,
Yeah, I know. I'm just a big pussy.
Just a big labradoodle.
Yeah,
of a man.
labradoodle.
A
Don't go that
fine.
far, dude.
Yeah.
Damn, spare me some of my dignity.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the podcast. I'm Teddy. I got Chris next to me. This is the Barely a Podcast.
The Barely a Podcast. Yeah.
Episode 3. How was your week, brother?
That was pretty good. Want to wish everybody a happy Star Wars Day.
Hey, may the 4th be with you.
4th be with you.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say this. We're not sponsored by this or anything, but the Bell County Comic-Con is coming up August 5th through the 6th. So it's a Friday and Saturday and a Sunday. I will be there with my lovely wife Lauren. Teddy might be there. You know, she's gonna do it. His wife's pregnant. Something like that.
Yeah. Some
non-issue.
not life
some
altering. Non-issue thing. Yeah.
So Teddy might not be there, but me and my wife definitely will. So we'll probably see there. I don't know if I'm gonna dress up or not.
It is an exciting thing. I was under the impression Comic-Con was a singular event.
Oh, yeah. No, well, it was. Started out in California. And then everybody else like, well, I just can't go to California because it's expensive. It's expensive to fly out there. And because then you want to pay to participate in everything and buy stuff.
Yeah.
And it adds up, you know.
For sure.
People just have just started their own.
Yeah, there's a similar story. I don't know how... I don't know if it's a false equivalence, but historically back home in Ethiopian history, it's not a folklore. It's actually something that happened in the 17th century. I think there was a king. His name was Fasilides, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this.
I know about him, dude. I don't know anything.
I'm pretty sure you have no idea who he is. I
have no idea, dude. I thought Ethiopia was a made-up country until you came here.
Yeah. God, that does so much for my confidence. It is the cradle of mankind. But let's not get into that. But anyways, he got this brilliant idea because once Christianity was introduced, obviously they had this pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And it's like, that seems like way too much of a hustle. Yeah. I'm going to build another Jerusalem here. And then my brother just started building churches. Never got to finish his dream, but there are some pretty fascinating churches that are pretty impressive. Fascinating architectural statements of the day that still stand today, and people go visit them. And if you do ever come to Ethiopia, we'll go look at them for the first time because we've never looked at them except in the
maybe one
calendars.
Day we can go there. Maybe one day we can go there. But yeah, so there's that coming up. I'm excited. I'm excited for it. It's been getting bigger every year.
I just built a ton of Topo Chico all over myself. That's what he finds hilarious.
Yeah, learn to drink, brother.
Yeah, and it's Topo Chico. It's not.
See,
alcohol.
if you grew a beard like I have, it would catch. It would catch it when it'd be all over your shirt.
But it catches not just water though.
Yeah, it
like
catches
mustard.
brother. Yeah, it saves you.
Ketchup.
It's a lifesaver, dude. It's a lifesaver.
One of the things that you told me, which was super endearing, is your story about the first time with the date.
Oh, with my wife? Yeah, our first date. Yeah, it was fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, like, I hadn't really had a long beard for that long, so I was still getting used to eating with the length of the beard.
Yeah.
And we went on our first date, and I ordered the fucking sloppiest burger you could ever order.
That's so funny.
And I bit into it, and like the sauce just spilled out all over my beard. But luckily for me, my wife was looking down while she was eating, so I was able to quickly recover and clean.
And this was the first date, wasn't it?
First date, day one. It was a terrible date on my part. She said she had a great time.
Yeah.
Everything was falling
because you had set some expectation for yourself.
Well, it's not just that. It's just like everything was just the worst possible outcome for everything was happening on my end. She just wasn't aware of it. Like my card got declined 3 times, and even though I had money on it, it was just a magnetic strip on the back. I was just like, oh,
I feel your pain, dude.
Like, oh my God, she's never gonna go out with me again. And now we're married.
Yeah, but I think that's a super endearing story, like a backstory for for the first time.
Oh
that
yeah,
you guys
she had
did.
no idea. I didn't let her know about any of that stuff until until like a year later.
You're like, once you had it locked down.
Yeah,
that was so
we're engaged
sloppy.
now. She can't say no now.
Yeah,
no,
there. She doesn't. She's a sweetheart.
She is.
From what I gather. Yeah, that was one of the things that you told me. I'm like, oh, I feel your pain. I feel your pain, bro.
Yeah.
Ooh, rough.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were saying something about Comic-Con. So what are you gonna go dress as?
I'm Rorschach. I know you don't like Rorschach.
No,
you think he's a
him.
lame character, but
No.
I think that his integrity is endearing.
Well, you did make a case for him when we discussed, because you were very passionate about. you actually did, you did this like a 2-page essay kind of thing on how his qualities as human being, although with no power, apparently it's just deductive reasoning. He's like Sherlock Holmes of wish list kind of thing.
Yeah, he's
light.
He's not as good as Sherlock Holmes.
No.
But he's a detective, and like his integrity, like it's unwavering. His principles are unwavering. And like
he got shot up or blown up.
Yeah, he got exploded by Dr. Manhattan at the end of Watchmen.
That's what you get, buddy.
Yeah. How dare you go and tattle?
Yeah,
fucking
and that mask is. I thought it was. Oh, and the mask that you told me you're gonna get, is it gonna be like almost like it's gonna have some effects?
I already have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has thermal ink on it, so like when it doesn't move like the movie entirely, but it moves around based on when I breathe. So when I breathe, the air goes up my face and it heats it up, so the ink disperses.
That is pretty cool.
It is really cool.
And you're gonna have nothing underneath the trench coat. Is what you told me.
Nothing underneath the trench coat.
You're just gonna be
I'm gonna be flashing people.
So if you see,
I'm gonna have the illusion of
if
pants.
you see a dude with a beard like escaping the mask,
they're not gonna know, dude. I'm gonna have a balaclava on underneath.
If you see Rorschach on Comic-Con this year, run away from him because you're gonna get flashed.
All right, so let's get to the topic of the day here, man, which is 2A and guns, like all these gun legislations that's being passed. How do you feel about it? To be honest, I know you're not a gun owner. I am.
Yeah, you are a gun owner. Lauren also owns a gun, is my understanding.
Yeah.
You family generally feels it's okay, right?
Well, it's not okay. We find it necessary.
We find it necessary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not against Second Amendment. Obviously, I worry about things sort of getting out of hand. Is what I'm mostly terrified of. Like sort of a slippery slope of like this vigilante kind of society where everybody takes things and the law into their own hands.
Yeah,
is what I'm scared of. And then it seems to bring out the worst of people in terms of escalation of like.
Well, I mean, we haven't had that form of vigilanteism before, and we have more gun registration now and gun regulation now than we've ever had.
Yeah,
and there was no widespread vigilanteism then.
Yeah.
So I mean,
you mean when everybody owned guns?
When it was more lax than it is now.
I would say like historically, what I would remember for that period would be the Wild Wild West stuff.
That is way.
That's a bad.
It's a bad take.
Yeah.
Were people getting shot? Yes, but it was not as widespread as people think. It's romanticized in the Western comics.
Yeah.
But that was a vastly more civil time, and you want to know why? Everybody had a gun, and it's like you knew if you got into a confrontation with someone, you were probably going to get shot. So people really didn't fuck with each other as much. I mean, there's your bank robbers, but you notice they don't live very long.
Yeah.
Like the what's his name?
Bonnie and
Billy
Clyde?
the Kid. Billy the Kid, right?
Okay.
He died in his 20s. Why? He was a bank robber, he did crime. He escaped from jail a couple times. He got arrested. But like back then, like if you kept doing shit and you kept breaking out, they're like, man, we're not even gonna deal with you anymore. They bam, put you down.
Yeah.
See, like these outlaws didn't last very long. They didn't make it into their golden years.
Yeah, I'll have to admit my entirety of my entire knowledge of the Wild West comes from the movies.
Yeah, you hear you hear about the Wild West, but it wasn't as wild as people think it was. Yeah. I mean, there was violence. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that there wasn't, because there was, but it wasn't as drastic as people think it was. If you go back and look at the accounts of it, because I was interested in it when I was younger. I was like, oh man, how wild was it back then? What was the casualty rate? It must have been so high. It actually wasn't that high. Yeah. Because even like the prostitutes back then, the barmaids, women had guns. Kids had guns.
Yeah.
Everybody had guns. Everybody was strapped, because like back then,
just normal.
And that was like when we had the most guns.
Yeah. Like everybody had guns. Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't understand is, like, back in the day, like when the Second Amendment was written, you were allowed to have everything that the military was allowed to have. So like if
in terms of the weaponry, you mean? Like
everything.
The class of weaponry.
Like you could privately own cannons, battleships. There are people who privately own battleships armed with cannons. You could have all that stuff as a civilian.
Yeah, but do you know about the MAD treaty? It's a mutual assured destruction treaty. It's it's among countries. Yeah, obviously for nuclear.
I don't agree with nuclear weapons just in general.
But you see that kind of when you carve out, it might be a false equivalence again on my part. But I want to say if countries sort of recognize the risk of getting into this arm race, where you continuously sort of like up the ante on what kind of and how bad the weapons that you have. And then if let's say your neighbor gets an AR-15, whatever, and you just want to get like either another AR-15 or, God forbid, an artillery.
The AR-15 isn't as powerful as gun as people think it is. It's just it's a modified M4. It's a civilian issue. It's never been used anymore. It's not a weapon of war. But it looks scary because it looks tactical. But it's a semi-automatic rifle.
I have to agree with you. Whenever somebody, like, especially from this never Second Amendment people from the Democratic side say, "Oh, we need to have guns which do not have like when they make this qualifiers between what kind of gun, whether it have a scope or not, does it have a handle?" That kind of conversation gets us nowhere.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It actually ends up being this stupid laws, and everybody's making fun of on YouTube right now, where they say if you put the thing on the side, it's not a felony. Underneath, felony.
Yeah, it's stupid, crazy. Man. It's dumb. Like these they go based off emotion, and I get it. Like when a mass shooting happens, it's a tragedy, and I feel bad for you. But you do not make drastic, wild decisions based off your emotions, because that is going to get you nowhere. Because what happens when you disarm the population? You think the criminals are going to stop getting guns? I mean, they're already going to do the crime, right? They already have in their mind they're going to do the crime. They're not going to, like, your law-abiding citizen will give up their guns because it's the law. Your criminals are not going to give up their guns. And they're going to keep their guns.
Correct.
They're going to keep them. And not even that. Now that you can 3D print guns, you can 3D print guns.
Yeah. I've
so it's like, there's no way.
It's like alcohol. Yeah. Prohibition did not work.
It didn't.
The war on drugs did not work. Human behavior will always lead to people acquiring whatever the government thinks is not within your rights to get it.
Yeah.
But I was making the case for a more humanistic approach, where you say, do we want to get into this slippery slope of a competition between each other, where everybody says, I am more strapped than you are.
Well, I mean,
I have something more powerful than you are.
That's not even that's a human nature thing, man. We're constantly in competition with one another for everything.
And you think laws are not going to put a stop to that?
No, laws aren't going to put a stop to that. I mean, that's just human nature. I mean, you can see it with birds, right?
Yeah.
The book I just picked up, and it's.
I haven't seen a bird strapped with an AR.
No, but no, like
okay. I know what you're saying, but
it's an argument from Jordan Peterson's book.
Yeah.
12 Rules from for Life. Great fucking book, dude.
Not bad.
Very insightful.
Yeah.
Like, have you read it yet?
Yes.
Yeah, you've read it?
I mean, I don't like Jordan Peterson in his entirety, but I was curious about something.
I think he's one of the great philosophers of our time. Yeah.
He's one of the most gifted articulate people that I've seen, since Hitchens. I would say. Yeah.
But like, so it talks about songbirds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that like these birds are in constant competition with each other for good territory. Because you might not think it because they're beautiful and they sing pretty songs, but they're not singing pretty songs. Yeah. It's violent. Calls to stay the fuck back. And so they guard their territory, like, and they go for the prime real estate, and they camp the ground. They get the better food. They know this. So when they fly back to the south for the winter, they're fighting. Like as soon as they get here, it's all on warfare for prime real estate.
Wow.
So I mean, you see it in nature. Like as long as there's two people on the world, there's going to be competition with each other.
I honestly cannot argue against that. It just seems to be our curiosity or that spirit of independence and individualism is always going to be there. So if you tap into that, yes, it's not going to end. It's not going to be a good way forward.
It's fight or flight, man. Like it literally is. It's like, but most people don't want to. People want to have the right to defend their homes, and that I think is just.
Someone that I know told me when we were discussing potentially owning guns.
Yeah.
So Jordi and I, my wife. So she told her uncle, really a smart guy, a scientist actually. He's your typical progressive guy. And he says, I would actually wager that you would end up hurting the family more if you own a gun and somebody breaks into your house. And I'm like, so could you expound? Like, I don't understand. And it's like, once they're in your house, for the thing to resolve easily, for you to not maybe accidentally hit someone in the family, just accidentally they go shoot someone in your own family member. And he was just painting this picture of like the worst case scenario of owning a gun.
Yeah.
It actually put me off the idea.
I mean, there's accidental deaths.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to ever discount those because the numbers are there.
Children shooting their parents.
Yeah, but I don't think that's very. That's not even a high number though. Of like.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if someone breaks into your house, they're intending to do you harm in some way. Either take something from you, or take your life, something like that. Either or.
Yeah.
They're going there, like.
I was just waving hello to a neighbor.
Yeah. Well, they're meaning you harm in some way, and you should
that automatically endorse you with the right to protect yourself.
Well, not just to kill, to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And in some states, you don't even have that right. Your first right is to flee, because you can be charged. Like these prosecutors are more concerned with the safety of these perpetrators than the victims.
Yeah.
It's like why should I have to constantly concede ground to someone? Like I paid for all this. This is mine. Why do I have to step back from it?
You're referring to something that happened in California, is it not?
Well, no, actually in New York, man.
Is that the law? That's a ridiculous
New York, you have to flee. In a lot of democratic states, you have to flee before you can defend yourself. Defending has to be the absolute
last resort.
Resort. I mean, I don't want to kill anybody. I don't. That's not like a want. I don't ever want to have to pull that trigger. Yeah. But I am willing to protect my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, that resonates with me. I'll never lie to you about that. I do not want to see a world where everybody has to carry guns. I mean, and I don't think you're wishing that as well, but you're just being pragmatic about the situation where it seems there is going to be people that want to do us bad, that want to hurt us, steal your property.
Yeah.
And you're not always going to be able to sort of out wrestle, out punch.
Exactly. That's
you're
what
not going to. So you need.
I mean, what if someone comes in? They got a baseball bat, right?
Correct.
I mean, if baseball crime gets rampant, are we going to regulate baseball? That's an assault style baseball bat.
You can't put a scope on it.
Yeah, he can zoom in right on you. He's got a 4 times scope on that thing.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I know
it's
you're
good.
not calling for that, where everybody's like, you're not calling for that caricature version of the Wild Wild West, where everybody's just shooting guns.
No, but I should have the ability. I mean, there's a reason. Like, you take, and it's not even just for that.
Yeah,
Like, the Second Amendment was placed because we had just fled a tyrannical government. We had
correct.
just fled a tyrannical government. This
You
was
mean
put into place
in England, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
so that way we could
Hmm.
defend ourselves against the government if it became tyrannical again.
Correct.
It's like when the government becomes too big, it inherently becomes tyrannical. When the government rules every aspect of your life,
Yeah.
it's tyranny.
Yeah, that's quintessentially the definition of a tyranny. No, I agree. I completely agree, because there is some. I was a kid, obviously, but when there was substantial military coup happening back home,
Yeah.
the first thing that they do, from what I hear, is sort of disarm a certain group of people, and that seems to repeat itself in history, where you see the first thing that potentially tyrannical government does, or group of people do, is disarm the public. I want to tell you a story, and this is probably going to be sort of pivoting me to my second point I want to make about not owning guns. Is, so I think I was in high school, and I'm telling way too many stories today from back home, but it's okay.
From high school.
From high school.
Maybe
it may not. And we used to rent out a couple of like flats in the back. So we had the main house, and then I don't know how the arrangement would work, but there's nothing like that in America. Anyway, so you just have, it's a giant compound, like one. Like,
oh, we had portables.
So you like a mobile house kind of thing is what you're telling me?
Yeah, like, so my school is very small. So for some of the classes, they had portables. They were kind of like sheds put outside.
Well, those were not sheds. Those were really good flats.
They weren't good. They were like sheds that were like barely.
Yeah, we were middle class Africa, so it worked out fine. Anyway, so we rented it out to this family of 3, a wife, a husband, and their daughter. And long story short, there was some confrontation, right? Some stuff happens. The dad, who I remember to be such a reasonable intellectual, he actually was a professor at one of the most prestigious schools back home.
Yeah.
Super reasonable. Like meek and mild. Yeah. Very soft spoken. I've never heard him raise his voice against his wife.
Yeah.
But she was in the wrong during that whole incident, right? So he's trying to sort of rein her in, like calm down, do not speak to, because she was like going off on my mom. And it's like, stop speaking to her like that. You're disrespecting a really kind lady. And he was right. His wife would not listen, right? Yeah. He goes out of the room and then comes back with a 9mm.
Oh, shit.
Puts it. So the lady's going off on my mom. I'm trying to go in between. I'm a kid, right? Yeah. I'm like, just what the hell's going on? I'm trying to protect my mom in a way. I'm terrified. This giant burly guy who I knew to be super kind comes in with a gun. Like, my whole perspective about him shifts. Yeah. And he starts threatening his wife. Puts the gun next to her temple. Oh, no joke, dude. Yeah. I witnessed this.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know how Hitchens says, like, this is not related, but he says, like, he's always made the argument, religion makes people that are even kind and really intelligent say and do really bad things.
Yes.
I just felt if that gun was not there, he would not have escalated to the point where he was literally threatening the mother of his child and potentially putting me and my mom in danger. And I was like, and I've seen so many similar things happen since then, where cops would end up shooting someone and then immediately be remorseful. You know, because nobody wants to kill anybody.
No,
but if the gun was not there, maybe you wouldn't do. Oh my God!
But yeah, you're correct. Well, I mean, there are people who don't care. I don't want to do it, but
in the name of Second Amendment,
so here's my thing, right?
Should we put guns in those people's hands, though?
Yeah, but like, we have background checks, man.
Yeah,
we have background checks. They like, so when I went and bought my first gun, which was a shotgun, I filled out a background check paper. They ran it, and
Good
I was
spread.
able to walk out with it that day.
Yeah.
When I went back to get my Glock 17, I had to come back in 24 hours to get it because they had to do extensive research.
Oh. Okay.
So, I mean, it's not always you just go, like, people will highly underestimate how easy it is to get a gun. Like, I mean, can you get one from someone? Absolutely. You can do a back alley deal with someone in some states to buy a gun, whatever. But the original purchase of that firearm, there's a background check.
And it could be traced. To
yeah, it can be traced.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you go there, like, it's 24 hours. I was like, okay, come back in 24 hours. And then they called me back the next day. Hey, yeah, you can come buy your gun. Went up there, bought my gun, went home.
Yeah, that's a good practice, and you're for that, right?
Yeah, yes, because like we have laws in place, right? If you commit a felony, you can't get a gun. If you have any violent crime on your record, you can't buy a firearm.
Yeah,
but my point is this: like, I 100% support your right to not own a gun.
Yeah,
but I also support my right to own one because it's a choice. Like, if you don't want to own a gun, I'm not gonna like berate you. For it, that's your choice. Great.
Yeah.
Make your choices.
And they don't seem to learn because every time they have this slightly more sort of loud conversations about potentially banning guns, the first thing that happens is the sale of guns and ammunition goes up.
Oh yeah. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, man, ammunition was expensive.
There was a shortage, I heard. Yeah.
Well, it's not even just that. The price of it was outrageous
because there was
a lot of money for 9mm. It used to be like 13 cents a round, $1 a round.
Is that still the case, or
no? I think it's gone down. It's still high.
So inflation hits bullets too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I have a bunch, and then I can reload.
Yeah.
I have a reloading station now.
Yeah.
But it's just. Regulation on it always comes from a place of emotion, and they think they can get people riled up.
And then it's tapping to whatever is the outrage at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And like, because there's people who still think the AR and AR-15 stands for assault rifle.
Yeah, I mean,
which
I'm not gonna lie. If people had told me before you made it clear for me, I would have believed them. What was it exactly?
It stands for assault rifle 15. It stands for Armalite rifle.
Ooh. I wonder what that means, but
that I cannot clarify. But that's what it stands for.
Yeah. No, it just shows you like there is shortcomings.
But I'll tell you what an assault rifle is,
gap,
because people don't know what an assault rifle is. An assault rifle is a select fire weapon. So you can go from single shot, which is semi-automatic, to burst, which is like a 3-round burst.
Okay.
To full auto. That's an assault rifle.
Which is
yeah. So that's an assault rifle, a select fire weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like you said, that conversation about particularly as banning something, bump stocks. I remember that conversation about that. Immediately there were like 300 videos about how to bump shot every gun.
You can, you don't need a bump stock. You don't need a bump stock to do it.
Yeah, those conversations are not productive. It just does not get us anywhere. And
now they're doing Biden magazine size. That's not going to stop anything. You just carry more magazines. Now they become lighter. They're lighter, so it's just like you can still carry the
thing that you mentioned, 3D printing guns.
Yeah,
like people will always find a way.
Like I have a for my 9mm. I got a 36 round magazine for that thing.
For what kind of gun?
For my handgun.
Oh my god!
It's a candy bar, bro. It's like a foot long magazine.
And that's fine. The chamber can take that.
Oh yeah.
Load, yeah.
Oh yeah. Bro.
Is that? I don't know if that's technically correct, but you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's Glock, dude. They finally manufactured firearms, man.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. The first thing that you said about like human nature and us not being able to modulate that to the point where we can actually convince everyone to not own guns. Because that would be the ideal situation, right? Yeah. The ideal situation would be we don't need guns at all.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you want 0 gun deaths a year. Ideally,
yes, and no lethal weapons in
no
each
lethal weapons.
Yeah,
hey, but even look at this, right? So if you go, I got the FBI's homicide statistics up, right? Mm-hmm. So they only go as far as 2019 on here, but handguns in 2019.
That's interesting, though.
6,000. 6,000 is your most killing weapon. right, out of firearms.
Yeah.
So 6,368. Rifles, 354. Shotguns, 200. Other guns, 45. So, yeah. And then if you go down here to personal weapons, which is classified as hands, fists, and feet, 600. You're twice as likely to get punched to death than shot with an AR-15.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you right here. I mean, that is obviously not as high as the guns, right? It's because accumulated of 10,258 gun deaths that year.
Yeah.
That's we want that number to be as close to zero as possible.
2019,
obviously.
though, right?
That's 2019.
And has it gone steady up?
I would imagine it has.
Yeah, because I believe as of last year,
we're in high civil unrest right now.
Correct. And as of last year, I think the highest cause of death for teenagers and children in America has been
firearms.
Yeah,
possibly.
It just overtook
yeah, but then you go here.
Motor vehicle accidents.
Motor vehicle statistics. 2019, 36,300, and you're licensed to do that. 36,355 deaths, and you're licensed to do that. Yeah. So like, we're gonna ban guns. You're 3 times as likely to die from driving in a car than to get shot by a gun.
Correct.
So it's like, we're gonna start banning. That's an assault style car, Teddy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weapon for sure. Anything was a momentum, because that's how bullets work as well.
And then if you go look at knife crime statistics in the UK, and these aren't knife deaths; these are just knife crimes.
Yeah. We have to say that.
Yeah.
They're not as lethal.
Well, you are
not properly used. Well, do not give ideas.
You are
on how
less
to make
likely to survive a stab than a gunshot.
For sure. It's crazy numbers, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think last year. 112,000 knife crimes.
Yeah, I think it's part of their culture.
Yeah, but are we going to start banning knives here in the United States? Because that's what it's going to devolve to, man. Everybody's going to be buying knives. Like, you take away guns, everybody's going to be buying knives. And then it's like, oh, no, that style of knife, that's an assault style one. You got to take that one away. Like, it's never going to end. You look what happened in Cuba. They disarmed their population. Then what happened? Communism came in, took over it. You think that won't happen here in America? Oh, we'll just vote it away. Right? We'll just no.
That's unlikely to work.
Your words mean nothing if you have nothing to back it up, man.
I guess the only pushback would be, why do you feel like this is a uniquely American issue? Because there are countries.
It's not. I think everybody should have guns all over the world.
Yeah, but like there are countries which do not have any kind of moratorium or mandate regarding guns. Yeah. And they don't have nearly as much, especially not school shootings.
Because I guarantee you, everybody has guns.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the more armed the population is, the less likely people are going to fuck with each other. Because they know the end result. It's like with men, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, even though we're civilized, me and you, Teddy, right? Yeah. There's an underlying... I mean, but there's an underlying threat that if we came to a disagreement, that it could ultimately end physically. Yeah. Right?
Right.
But we stay civil. I mean, we're friends, but I'm just saying, like, if we weren't.
I got you.
Like, and we're having a civil conversation and it got heated, we know that there's an underlying physical threat now, right?
Correct.
So we can bring it back down, or if it gets to that point, we can escalate to the point
you're literally describing the mutual assured distraction 3D, but for everyone, amongst each other,
Yeah.
Because it seemed to have worked for...
That's what it is, man.
It seemed to have worked for nukes.
But I kind of, like... We either have everybody has guns or no one has guns. Yeah, and that's including the government.
I think so too.
Because I'm gonna tell you, like, if you see all the people walking around with these politicians and celebrities and stuff, all these guys are strapped. All their security is strapped.
Yes.
You think they're gonna not have armed security?
No.
Hell no.
No, I've noticed that as well.
Exactly.
That hypocrisy is pretty blatant.
Secretaries of state and all these politicians who are walking around with
their
armed
guards.
You guys shouldn't have guns. But they have armed security. Everybody can't have armed security.
I think to not make this protracted, what you just said, which is either everybody has guns or no one has guns, is the best. I think it's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're never going to be at a point where no one's
ladder's
not
going to happen.
Yeah, the ladder's not going to happen.
So
the best possible outcome is the former. Everybody has guns.
Yeah, which also brings us to, should teachers carry weapons? And I don't know. I don't have enough data on that.
I really don't know if I'm. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, someone brought up a really good point.
Yeah.
The other day, I was listening to it. It was a short on YouTube.
Okay.
He goes, we use guns to protect our money. We use guns to protect.
What about our children?
Yeah. But not our children. Like, he was listening to all these other valuable things we use guns to protect, but not our children.
Wasn't there an armed guard at Uvalde?
I don't know.
I mean, you can't say that was not effective because it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
Just how cowardly did the person behave? Because I believe the guy kind of bolted, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So, like, with this last mass shooting that happened in Nashville.
Okay.
With the trans shooter.
Oh yeah, the trans.
Yeah. It was funny because before all the information out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was like, just another cis white man shooter, just another one, just out there. And then she quickly shut the hell up when she found out it was a trans person. And then she kind of flipped it. They must have provoked her.
Oh no, I'm not familiar with those commentaries from her, but that's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, they try to martyr him. And you know another thing else?
Did you know if that was a biological male or female? Do you know?
Biological female.
Transition to male to female?
No. Biological female. Transition to being a man.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I think
her name was
Audrey or something?
Audrey. But she was going by the name Aiden, I think.
Wait, so one more time. She
trans man, which is biological female.
So she's a trans man, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
he's a trans man.
Yeah, trans man.
But wasn't the friend the black girl that was giving an interview about her? Because the person
I didn't see the interview, so I don't know. So
she's contacted somebody, or he has contacted.
Yeah,
somebody,
I know he sent out text messages.
Yeah, but that person was referring to this shooter as a she.
Yeah, because I mean, come on, it was a she.
But she seems to be her friend. She was like, she should be one of those people that would be into the whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just telling you, biological female. It was a biological female. Yes, I'm 100% sure on this.
All right.
100% sure. Biological female.
Transition to male.
Transition to a man.
Okay. But why was she going by Audrey though?
She was going by Aiden.
Oh, that was the was the trans name.
Yeah.
Good Lord, dude, this is confusing.
It's confusing. Exactly. That's the thing. It's confusing.
Yeah.
But they have a manifesto, right?
Mm-hmm.
FBI hasn't released it. And I guarantee you, it was supposed to be released yesterday to the public.
You're thinking there's something pretty damning about the transition and the whole...
damning to the cause, I would say.
To the trans
because I guarantee you, if that was a right-wing, Trump-supporting, MAGA hat-wearing guy who did it, that manifesto would be released before we even knew a shooting happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
I mean, it's so stupid.
It's really bizarre.
But yeah, we haven't get it. I guarantee you when we do get it, it's going to be heavily redacted. They're going to have everything blacked out.
Yeah, I mean, independent of like who she is or the mental...
Well, I mean, I don't really care. I care that 3 kids die and 3 adults died.
Yeah.
But I really don't care who did it.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean,
we do want to try and understand why this happens in America.
Yes, we do. But I do want to say that I don't condone any mass shooter. Like, I mean, just trans or straight white man,
for
whatever.
Sure. Yeah, that was not the distinction you were trying to make.
No. I was just bringing up a contradictory point.
Absolutely,
like their hypocrisy, the hypocrisy of the tolerant left.
Yeah, the highest order. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, what you said, I think sort of summarizes my position almost perfectly. It's you can't control human nature. We either have something on us for protection.
No one's gonna get because I'm gonna tell you right now, I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. So if they came to take my guns from me, because I know where it's headed from that point,
there you go.
I would die. I would go down swinging.
And like 10 years from now, when your sedition trial is happening, they're going to be like, let's go back to episode 3 of your podcast.
No, but I mean,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I would absolutely rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Now, this might be construed as being like a political simp, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: I would rather be shot than shoot someone. Like that's how much that I would. I think if for like I want to make I want to add a qualifier on that one. If I am for sure 100% like know the background of someone and know them to be violent, with no reasoning, not just having a bad day, you know, I shot them and protected my family, I might feel less of a conscious guilt, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't want to shoot someone, but I wouldn't feel remorseful about protecting my family.
But you see, I want to give you this case of someone where, like that guy, for example, if he ended up shooting the story I told you about, if he ended up shooting his wife or hurting, God forbid, some one of us, do you think he would have been able to live with himself? And would he not have wished he never had a gun nearby? Probably, right?
Well, I don't think so. I
No?
think he'd be remorseful. Because I think... Because you've known him to be like a well-controlled individual up until that point.
Correct.
Right? And, well, you also don't know what's going on in the background when you're not around him.
Yeah, but assuming what I thought about him was right.
Assuming based off that information that you have,
I think he would have...
I would assume he'd be very remorseful if something had happened.
That's what I'm afraid of, you see. Because I feel like if you just sort of took two steps back...
Okay, so I don't think a firearm should be pulled out every time someone's having an argument.
Yeah.
Like, so that right there, like that's
but it takes a lot of emotional maturity to say what you just said. You know what I'm saying? To have that position. Because I know you to be such a calm, sort of controlled human being. I would not be scared if you had a gun on you. I would actually feel more protected. You know what I'm saying? Like you and I were like on 6th Street at 2 in the morning. I'd be like, you got your gun, brother? That's what I'm saying. Like, for sure. Like,
I open up a trench coat. I got 7 guns.
Yeah. I would feel protected because I know you.
I think
but then someone like Aiden or Audrey, whatever her name, who clearly was having mental health issues.
Yes.
How do we ever control for that? You know, like, it's so hard.
I mean,
I guess it's a risk.
It is a risk. I mean, it's a risk either way, man. Yeah. It's like you give up everything and then you're completely subservient to the government to the point where you can't dictate any aspect of your life. I mean, that's what happens in China. Yeah. I mean, look what happened in Australia during the pandemic, man. They've been disarmed for a while, right? And they're like, oh, things are good over here. But they were locked in their houses by force under the pandemic. They couldn't leave. Yeah. You could not leave your house. And we all see that resulted in nothing. So and then they were pulling people into these quote unquote, I'm being bombastic, but concentration camps for COVID. They're being like, if you were suspected of having COVID, you were pulled out of your house and put in these camps until you got like so many negative tests.
Yeah, that kind of government mandated.
Yeah. Like, look at Spain.
Sort of
Spain was outrageous, man.
Italy,
China. I think a guy, he was online and he was reporting his sister died in the house, and he just wanted someone to come get her body.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, so he's locked in his house with his dead sister.
Remember that Chinese guy who just lost it on the street?
Oh yeah, it's like. The psychological toll that the pandemic took upon the population, the global population, was it's crazy.
Forget staying home, just to be locked in, and they were just bolting people in.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I lived in Texas.
Yeah,
because we were not locked down harshly, and
it was pretty lax here.
Yeah, it was.
We did feel a little bit burnt.
Yeah, but look, we all conceded to the point where we're all like, hey, 15 days to slow the spread, and we all agreed. Everybody agreed. We're all on the same board on this. We all quarantined for 15 days. It did absolutely nothing. The spread got worse. So they're like, do the same thing that you've been doing. We just saw that it's made the situation worse. Why would we keep doing it?
Yeah, there's some part that I agree there, but the only pushback I would give you is it was not really as universal, the 14-day, 15-day quarantine that we tried to do. There was still some issue there, and there was some knowledge gap about the virus.
Yes, there was. That's why everybody agreed, because we didn't know. So we're like, yes, let's quarantine. But then you see the 15 days. And I'm not even just talking about here in Texas. like New York did a hard lockdown, right?
Yeah.
It was through the roof.
That's pretty obvious now.
Yeah.
Like Florida.
So like that's where you take your samples from, like
Yeah.
your high population cities,
Mhm.
right? Because they're all packed together.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, okay, they were all locked indoors because they all abided by the policy
Yeah.
because they were under hard Democrat rule.
Mm-hmm.
So they had massive growth, and these other states, these more rural states, had less. What do you think is the best modus of operandum from this point forward? Everybody go outside.
I mean, but it was.
It was common
pretty
sense.
blatant. How
I'm not a
much they did not know.
virologist, man, and I was just like, I was on board with the 15-day lockdown.
Yeah.
I masked up, even though it was hard for me to breathe. I have asthma,
Yeah.
so it was hard for me to breathe with the mask on. I wore the mask,
Mm-hmm.
and when I went out in public spaces, I didn't wear it when I was at home, obviously, but I wore it at work.
Yeah.
I wore it. I abided by all the guidelines that were set in place. After 15 days, because I'm reasonable, like the data doesn't look like this is adding up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it did not work. That whole operation they did at the beginning was, for the most part, desperate attempt at
nuts
controlling it. It was pretty crazy.
It was an attempt to control, because all it did was put more money in the hands of these corporations that all these people bitch about. Because all they did was buy from Amazon, buy from Walmart, and they
crazy.
just got shipped to your house. That's all they did. All that freaking
the hundreds and thousands of businesses that went out.
Yeah. They're never coming back.
Yeah.
Never coming back, man. Small business.
Yeah, that took a toll.
Small
on
business
society.
died.
That was crazy.
Yeah, and right before that, all the small
And you're
businesses
like,
retired.
you asked me to lock in now. I got my Glock with me.
Yeah.
48 shots, ready to go.
Yeah, dude. Like,
You
I was prepared for civil unrest because
Yeah.
the scariest thing when an event happens are other people, and that's another reason why I'm glad I have a firearm.
I have to ask you this though. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it was completely different.
So,
thing.
if someone knocks on my door and is demanding me to give them food,
Yeah.
and they kick open my door, I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, you told me that much because we had a discussion about this one time, and I asked you, what if I showed up with my kids and my wife, and I'm like, come on, some of those beans, brother.
I would help you out, Teddy.
Oh, good to know.
Well,
I got a brother who's.
I wouldn't shoo you away because I know.
Yeah.
From what I know of you, I don't think with things got rough, you would turn against me.
No, I would not. Especially now that I know that you have guns.
That's the deterring factor.
There you go. This is how. This is a clear demonstration of what you were describing working.
Yeah. Well, I like this adage that Jordan Peterson says, right?
What is?
And I know you don't like Jordan Peterson that much.
Oh, no, it's not that I don't like him.
But he said you should learn to be a monster, and then learn to control it. Because it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
because
rational advice.
It is because it's just because you were strong doesn't mean you can't be kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, if we ever talk about, I guess, because you and I like to talk about culture and social
philosophy
issues. And philosophy.
We talk about everything, man.
Yeah, I know. But when we do, I mean, that's our lane, right? We just like to talk about the average Joe living through present day culture, the things that are important to us.
Yeah, we
one day when we'll talk about.
We are the hitchhiker's guide to the average to the world.
We should when we do talk about philosophy. I'll give you some pushback against what he espouses to be.
You are more versed in philosophy than I am.
Well, we've read the same books that are, I would say, lay the groundworks for fundamental knowledge of logic and fallacies and stuff like that. So I'm sure you'll keep up. If not, actually convince me to look the other way on certain issues. So Jordan Peterson for me is great. He raises some interesting points. The most benign of which, and which I actually love, is the one that he talks about making your bed. Just the first thing in the morning, which everybody thinks is like it doesn't take thing. Like a.
Well, I mean, because the whole point of that book is an antidote to chaos.
Correct,
and that's order, right?
Order, exactly. Yeah. So that seeing your room, your place, and you can see my house.
It really does though.
It's a reflection of how your psyche.
It's not just that. Like if your house is a mess, right, and you clean it up, you feel like you have accomplished something. So you get that dopamine hit. You feel good about yourself for doing it.
And that act of making your bed and seeing it in order is like a cue to your mind, to the subconscious and conscious actually, to tell you your day has started.
Yeah.
And you're getting after it. Like you're go, right?
Yeah.
So I like that structure that he preaches. But what I always push back against his philosophy is when I see a lot of hypocrisy in some of the things he says. For example, the warrior thing that you just told me.
Yeah.
Is not commensurate with what he did when he was struggling with barbiturates.
No.
Which I don't want to knock him for, but it's fair, I think.
Yeah.
You want to live by what you preach.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And so to err is human, right? And I also try to live up to the standard that I tell people. I don't always, because I'm human.
You're not successful always. Yeah.
I'm not perfect.
Correct.
And neither is Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, but this was him as an established.
So Jordan Peterson, come on the podcast, clear the air.
Did Alex Jones respond to your plea? Yeah. We don't want to get into his philosophy, but I agree what you say. Well, he actually makes really good points about being structured and clear about things, being about more masculine. My thing is like even if he doesn't live up to his own standards sometimes, I still think that what he says is still good to listen to. Yeah.
For more than one reason, because right now, in this seems like kind of a whiny thing, but I feel like in today's culture, men are very disenfranchised. Because masculinity is seen as toxic. It's not seen as a good thing to be a masculine man. They want, but women are also not attracted to non-masculine men. Like, if you have a really weak personality man, like, you don't think he can protect you, you don't think that's not attractive.
Yeah.
Like, and you'll to women.
But trans women though.
Yeah, maybe. Well, because then they can protect themselves because they're actually men. But and no one's speaking to them because he says he hears people all the time wherever he goes that they have never heard a word of support or anything from anybody.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, that part I like. Him being this sort of a dad figure to a lot of men that feel disenfranchised, like you said.
Exactly. And that's the reason why Andrew Tate became so prominent. Because there's no masculine role models today. There's none.
Yeah, it's concerning, actually. To be honest,
Andrew Tate's very bombastic, and like I agree with some of the stuff he says, but it's like
you're right. He should not have rose to the status that he did had it not been to the suppression. He would not
have if there were other masculine role models.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And Andrew Tate's calmed down a lot. Like from when he first started
prison
speaking.
does that,
Yeah, he has calmed down a lot. Yeah. And I'm not talking about just him being arrested.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's
you
just.
feel the rhetoric has slowed down.
He's calmed down because he's like I think he was loud because he wanted to get his message out. Okay. So he was saying some outrageous things to get heard. And then he blew up overnight. Like it really was like I didn't know who the hell Andrew Tate was at all, or his brother, until like it was all night. He was just in the feed, man. He's in the algorithm. Just blew up.
Yeah, he did something to that.
And
it's crazy.
It's funny. He put out a video of he just now. It's his first video after being out of prison. And this guy from Vice just kept calling his phone while he's doing the video. Like he's doing the video, and this guy just keeps blowing up his phone. So he answers it because the guy wants to do an interview after he put out a hit piece on Andrew before he went in prison.
Yeah,
he's like, I want to do I want to get both sides of the story. He goes, oh, now you want to get both sides of the story. So he tells the guy to get him a box of chocolates. And then he shows up at Andrew's house, and Andrew's just sitting in his room watching on the security cameras as this guy, he's just laughing at him sitting outside his gate with a box of chocolates and a camera crew, and he's not letting the guy in.
He's just trying to get a bite out of the story. That's all for him.
Well, yeah, he's just, but he was never going to do the interview.
Yeah,
he's just laughing at this guy.
Yeah, that's the media for you. They just would latch on to any figure that, whether controversial or not, evil or bad, just whatever. So, yeah, you're right. That figure is required where someone stands up to that to that section of.
So it's.
Yeah, I don't know how we pivoted to.
I don't know either.
Jordan Peterson
culture. Oh, this was the warrior in the garden thing.
Oh yeah. So we you and I both agree on being self-reliant.
Yeah.
Realizing your full potential as an individual, not being sort of foregoing your right to protect your family and your property. All that resonates with me. And like you said, it's like I could see it. Just look back to history to learn how human nature would impact the policies that we have going forward.
Yeah.
You can tell people you can't have guns.
I mean, you can look at back during the medieval age, right?
Yeah.
So all the rich people, they ruled over the poor.
Yeah.
And you didn't have a say. And what were the arms back in the day? Swords, spears.
Yeah. Whoever had the
So the armor,
the good weaponry.
You had to be really wealthy to be a knight to get that plate armor.
Yeah.
That you had to be really wealthy. Yeah. So you could defend against. Yeah, of course you can go ahead and slaughter 20 peasants.
Yeah, I mean, power seems to come from the muzzle of the gun.
Yeah, it is. So I mean, that's where power is. But once you give up that power, then serfdom, here you come.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality that we're gonna live in. Having conversations which take us nowhere regarding bump stocks and handles and like scopes.
That doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. And they're like common sense gun law. What's common sense? Is it common sense to disarm your law-abiding population so that way the criminals can sweep in and take everything that they own at the point of a gun? Because that's what's going to happen. As soon as you disarm the population, criminals are going to have free reign over everything.
Yeah. Do you remember the other names we considered for this podcast?
The
barely
black podcast.
Barely black podcast.
That was just based off of something you said. Yeah. You said you were barely black.
Yeah, and that exactly reminds me of something which I did. It relates to guns. Yeah. The first and the last time that I ever shot a gun at a shooting range. It's actually an indoor shooting range.
Oh.
It was like maybe 6 months or so after I came to America.
Yeah.
Took Yordi out. We went to this place. I think it was called A Hole in the Wall or something.
Yeah.
I haven't left a pretty awesome review because they were super thankful and they were really helpful.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Have you ever shot a gun?" I'm like, "No, never done that."
Yeah.
But I wanted to get into it, and the reason was something happened. I think it was a school shooting or something that just prompted me to feel like, "Oh my God, I've got no protection." Like, do I maybe need to do this? You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, so a caveat.
Yeah.
Maybe to the point. Maybe before people buy a gun.
Training.
Maybe, a gun training.
Yeah. So I go in there and they give me, I guess there are protocols of gun safety.
Yeah.
The way you take the thing from them, checking if there's one in the chamber, all that.
Yes.
And I'm like, please tell me how. And they thankfully they went through all the steps. And they're like, maybe 9mm may have like a, what do you call it when it kicks back?
Yeah. Recoil.
Yeah. I guess that's going to have too much of it. It might jar you. So let's try with a 22.
Yeah.
I did not know 22 was the flimsy little one.
Yeah, it had less powder in there.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Like the caliber of the gun, the bullet is tiny.
Yeah. Less powder because the bullet's smaller, so it takes less to propel it.
The projectile is small, and so the amount of the brass is small.
A 22 is like you could probably fit 3 22s inside of a 9mm, like the equivalent amount of stuff.
Wow.
That's about 3 times the size as a 9mm round, I think.
Well, I did not know that, and I thought what I had in my hand was some impressive, like it was going to end, like I'm about to just start World War III right now. Like, I just do not talk to me, right?
You did turn something into the side.
No,
clack, clack, clack.
So for those, because nobody can see us, what you did was you turned your hand to the side and showed the gangster kind of way.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, and after all this years, right, I'm remembering what happened then. I'm like, I'm barely black because I did not even turn the gun to the side.
Yeah.
I just shot it up like a square.
Well, that's how you should shoot it, because shooting it like this,
yeah,
it's gonna recoil.
It's had nothing.
Yeah.
And I've seen other videos since then to show. Well, we're talking about stereotypes of gangsters like holding guns to the side. I barely had any intuition to do that.
So yeah, but when you fire a gun, you generally want 2 hands on it.
Correct.
So that way you have more control
on the, and then you don't want to hurt yourself as well, right? Because
there's more control. Because the recoil, depending on the gun, hurt. Like if you fire a shotgun, firing a shotgun fucking hurts, dude.
Yeah,
your shoulder gets beat the fuck out of the recoil on it. Like you watch Demolition Ranch. Yeah. You see how like when he's a big guy. Yeah, that's a muscular dude. Correct. And like when he fires that 50 BMG, you hear like.
Yeah. And what was that guy that had the BMG blow up on him?
I don't know.
I forget his name.
I get into trends where I watch him a lot, where I'm just like I binge his videos and then I just kind of stop.
Yeah, I got into it just because I wanted to, you know me, like I'm curious about just.
He lives in Texas too.
Oh, he does. Yeah. He's a vet.
Cool I know he's a vet.
He's got a daytime.
He was in Spec Ops.
Yeah, but he's got a tremendous collection, which is impressive.
Oh yeah, dude, he's got so many guns.
But you never see him like playing.
No,
like
he's
Warzone. Like I'm saying, you know how some guys are like with full tactical gear.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like,
that's not practical.
I know you're you're about to go into your apartment, which is like in the middle of a city. Yeah. Come on, like it.
Well, I mean, I have a plate carrier.
What is that?
It's a bulletproof vest. You can put your plates in it.
Yeah, but you're not going to the gas.
No, I don't walk
fully
around.
Strapped.
No, there's no need to.
What is the thing they call?
Oh, this is war paint.
War paint.
It's like
Dude, people have that like night goggles.
That
flips off.
No, I don't got those. I don't got any of that stuff.
That's pretty pathetic.
I've got a flashlight for my Glock.
Yeah.
So I got an Olight. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, China makes the best flashlights. They really do. Olight's the best brand.
Listen to you, Patriot. Complaining about
they do, man.
But you have a Glock. Glock is American made, right?
Glock is German.
Glock is German. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glock is a German manufacturer.
if everybody was reasonable,
but
just
everybody's
felt
not, Teddy. It's the same thing because we had discussion about socialism and capitalism, and
we'll get
into that another time.
Yeah, one can hope.
Everybody has. That's the thing. Everybody has to agree. And everybody's not on the same page. Yeah. Like, because right now, if you look at left-wing politics, right, if you disagree with one thing, oh, God. Like, if you disagree with one thing, you're out. Like, they don't accept it. Yeah. And they're slowly just eating themselves.
Yeah. Let's agree on the genders first, and then maybe we'll get to the guns.
Yeah, we can't agree on so much other stuff. And that's another thing. Like, I think identity politics have been pushed, and you can't step outside tribal lines. Mm-hmm. Like, because if you do, you're hated by both sides. So if you try to extend the olive branch, as it were, there's nothing. I don't see any outside. Because inevitably, what I think is going to happen in this country, and we're going to have another civil war. Yeah, it might not be the way dark. It was before, where it's violent. It might take place on social media. I think, on all honesty, I think we're in it.
Yeah, the cold civil war has been happening.
And that's the funny thing. Like, because if you look back in, like, history, no one thought the Civil War was going to happen. Nobody did. Yeah. Like, for one of the battles, I think, people brought picnics because they heard people were going to show up and fight. They didn't think it was going to happen. Families gathered with picnic blankets and picnic baskets, and then a fucking battle started out.
That's crazy.
Because they thought it was fake. Like, no one would actually fight. And then it happened. Yeah. It'll happen again. Like,
I hope not.
I don't want it to happen. Yeah. I absolutely don't want the country to fight. But I think that we're on an inevitable course of that.
Yeah, and maybe to interject with a more positive light, I would say yes, that's likely to happen with the course of things right now. But I would say sometime I hope reason prevails, and
I want reason to prevail.
And the only way for us to do that, it seems, is to get back to
reality.
Quality education, like people training our kids with proper education, because that's what we're lacking.
You know what I think will stop that?
Yeah.
Everybody takes their kid out of public school.
And
homeschool.
I don't know.
Or private schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
well, okay, so this is what one of the things I like that Trump was doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you decided to homeschool your child,
mm-hmm.
the taxes that you would have paid for public school, he would refund to you.
Oh.
And yeah.
He would refund. That's a good incentive.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a good incentive. He would refund to you, but that was what he was going to implement in this term.
Yeah, that would help with avoiding some classism and
exactly.
issues with
the taxes you would have paid.
Yeah.
So that you could put towards homeschooling.
Yeah.
Or private schooling, whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah. No, you're talking good facts. Good reason, I would say.
Yeah, dude.
I just don't want this experiment of
guys. Passage 2024.
Democracy.
I'm running.
Democracy to devolve into everybody just shooting across their fences.
Gonna run for president.
Is that what you're doing now?
No.
Are you plugging?
Yeah, I'm plugging my campaign.
How awesome is that,
dude? I gotta get a foothold on it, man. I gotta get a jump start.
On?
I don't have a base. I don't have a base. I gotta get my.
Oh, for your presidential run?
Yeah, my presidential run.
Yes, sir.
So
yeah.
If
you pick Kamala Harris as your running mate.
Fuck no. Dude. Fuck no.
Why did I know you were gonna say that? Kamala is
absolutely not.
What if she transitioned to a male? Would that work for you? No, never. Doesn't seem like.
I just got like 50 texts
from
my in-laws and my mom. Are you doing the podcast?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not going out live today. Not the
video.
Yeah,
it's not live today. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant talking to you as always, Chris. You make good points. I know we agree. I know we agree on a fundamental, which is we want a world that is free of violence, and we wish nobody really had to carry guns, but it doesn't seem like that's going to work out. It's not the most pragmatic way to go.
Not for the foreseeable future. So there's this, it's just a movie, but it gives me a plain view of what society would happen. So it's called Demolition Man.
I've seen
it's
that.
It's Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Great film. It's like a future.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Arnold is in that one?
No, not Arnold.
You sure?
No, Arnold's on it. It's Sylvester Stallone and
with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Sandra is in there.
So Sandy Bullock.
Yeah.
So the society has gone to, it's all peace for the most part.
Yeah.
And then one bad person gets, because they put their prisoners in cryostasis until they can be rehabilitated.
Correct.
So one guy gets brought out, and he was the worst criminal of the 20th century, and it's Wesley Snipes' character.
And they picked the black guy to do it.
Yeah, yeah, they did. It was the 80s, 90s. So he gets released.
Yeah,
and he's not rehabilitated. And he doesn't want to be
not conforming.
Yeah, well, and not only that, they have forced rehabilitation because they implant it into your brain.
Yeah,
but they didn't do that because the guy in charge wanted him to fuck things up. But the police and society did not know how to handle this one man.
Yeah.
And he destroyed their society.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's just the inevitability.
Yeah. And the solution was to get the same guy from the same era.
Yeah.
Trying to, because that's the only way that could be managed.
Yeah. I mean, the premise, like that premise, it's an action movie. But I like that part of it, right?
Yeah.
Is that society was quote unquote perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was living peacefully.
Yeah.
Like the cops didn't even have like any force of violence. There was no guns. There was no guns at all.
Yeah.
And like
I don't think they've seen guns. Yeah.
They had like these batons that would just kind of like
zap you,
incapacitate you for a second. It was non-harmful. It just like rendered you unconscious for a second.
Yeah.
But it was a non-violent society, and like you got tickets for swearing. So it was very authoritarian. Like you couldn't say what you wanted.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, you don't want this homogenous.
No.
Super monotonic society.
That's what
it was.
They want.
Yeah.
Right? They want like that kind of society. It's all globalist. Like we're all one. It's ideal, but it won't ever work out because that's against human nature. It's just against human nature.
always comes down to human nature, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not in our nature to do that. It really isn't. And we can't change what we're built to do.
Are you gonna actually not dress up anything under the trench coat when you go to the Comic-Con? Could I tell people to check you out?
It's gonna be a tutu. Yeah, I mean, I might go as Rorschach. I might not. I don't know. It depends on how hot it is.
Yeah.
Because man, the last time I went there, I was sweating buckets. Sweating buckets underneath there. It was miserable.
Well,
but I had a good time.
It's always bound to be a good ass time at Comic-Con, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Super like-minded people.
Yeah.
There, right? Everybody's just fun.
Yeah, everybody's having fun.
Yeah.
Everybody's having fun. I don't ever have.
No one has a gun there.
No, just fake guns.
Fake guns.
Fake guns.
I wish that was the real world. Lovely talking to you as always, Chriso.
Yeah, you too, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you next week.
All right.
Thanks for watching, folks. You can follow us on Twitter at A Barely Podcast.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.